Well, what's up again, guys? Brian here at 3TR, here to give you my official movie review for the newest installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, this one being simply titled Black Panther. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I was a little bit hesitant about giving my overall thoughts about this film because there seems to be some sort of political agenda behind this movie that I just don't quite understand, or to be frank, I just don't really care too much all about. And I was a little bit hesitant to share my official thoughts because I figured that after a certain comment that I made a little while back about the entirety of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, some people might have taken it the wrong way. And unfortunately, that applies to this film too. So I'm just going to come out and say it right now. Overall, I thought that Black Panther was a good movie. I'm not going to say it was great. I'm not gonna say it was amazing. I'm not gonna say it changed my entire perspective on, you know, black people can be heroes. I mean, I think if you have that mentality now, I just don't know where you've been for the past 20 years, because there have been plenty of black superheroes that have been around. I mean, maybe this is just like, people think, oh, this is like the first time we've actually had like a big one. And I'm like, just that kind of talking has just really just annoyed me to the point where I'm just nauseous. But again, I thought Black Panther was a good movie. The problem is that I'm going to repeat a statement I said a while back, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but at this point, these Marvel films have just gotten kind of stale to me. Now some people are saying, oh no, these movies aren't getting stale, they're just getting better. I'm like, that's not really the case for me. This whole cinematic universe thing started 10 years ago, back in 2008. I was in high school when this whole thing started. I'm 27 now, and I've already seen more than 15 of these films. And out of all of these films, only 3 of them I thought were good enough to the point where I wanted to not only see them a second time in theaters, but I wanted to own. And unfortunately, Black Panther is not one of those films. It's one of those Marvel Cinematic Universe movies where I've only seen it once. I'm probably going to forget about it in a week and just move on to the next movie, which I believe is Avengers Infinity War. And I'm going to go through the same thing again with that film like I did with this film and the last couple of Marvel Cinematic Universe films. Now again, that is not to say that it's bad, because this is without question a good movie. I thought the direction, the performances, the cinematography, everything about this film was good. It was very, very standard. I've always had this mentality that when it comes to Marvel films, they keep on this very, very consistent line. They never go above, they never go below, they stay very, very consistent. And being consistent is a very good thing. It's just another movie. Now, there were a couple things about it that I thought I just wasn't feeling too well. For example, one thing I didn't really enjoy all that much was probably the CGI in the final battle of the movie. It looked really, really fake. There was some really good CGI throughout this film, but in the last battle, especially when you had the main protagonist and antagonist fighting, it looked really, really fake. There was also these rhinos that looked really, really fake. There were also a couple characters I don't think were given enough screen time. I could tell from their presentation of their characters that they were going to have a much bigger impact in future films. I just wish I could have gotten to know a little bit more about them. I know we want just to focus on Black Panther himself and pretty much the story around him, but I really felt that we could have spent a little bit more time focusing on the supporting cast, because this movie is only 2 hours and 15 minutes. I wouldn't have minded if this had been an extra 15 to 20 minutes longer. I mean, I know that's kind of pushing it, but I wouldn't have minded getting to know a little bit more about the other characters. I wasn't a big fan that this really didn't even tie too well into the other Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. I mean, maybe they had like a little mention at the very beginning, but it felt like it was very, very self-contained. And it has that kind of consistent problem where someone is doing something and you're wondering, wait a minute, didn't he just make all these friends in this previous movie we saw him in? Why didn't he just call them for backup? Maybe he's like, well, maybe Black Panther doesn't know them like that, but you know, I'm sure if he really needed help, I'm sure he wouldn't have had any problem asking for help. A couple other things I thought were decent was, I thought the villain was pretty standard. Now, some people were saying, oh, this is like the greatest Marvel villain we've ever seen, and just because they tried to make him sympathetic. I didn't feel that way. I felt he was going to be a throwaway villain where he was going to show up, he was going to do something, it was going to be somewhat bad, and then there was going to be a major fight, and he was going to get killed off. And I'm not going to say he was, but let's just say what happened to him at the end just didn't surprise me. If it sounds like I'm annoyed by this film, I'm sorry. It was just, bottom line, it was just another Marvel film. I don't know what else to say. When Avengers Infinity War comes out, I'm probably going to have the same mentality I'm going to have with this film. I'm going to go into it, I'm going to watch it, I'm going to leave. It's just going to feel like another Avengers movie. When Ant-Man and the Wasp comes out later this year, I'm probably going to have the same reaction to that film. When Captain Marvel comes out next year. When all these other movies, I'm without question going to see them. But I just think I'm at that point where they just can no longer impress me. I mean, the competition around the Hollywood comic book world is kind of in the dumps. I mean, let's see, Marvel is about to take out the X-Men franchise with Fox. Sony is experimenting with Venom later this year. DC is just dragging their entire cinematic universe in the mud. I mean, this is the only competent cinematic universe, and I've stuck with it for so long, it's just not impressive anymore. Again, that is not to say that Black Panther was bad. I enjoyed it, but it's just another movie. Now, if I had to give it a rating, I'm going to have to give it just a B+. Now, you don't need me to tell you whether or not to see it. I'm sure most of you guys have either already seen it or you're absolutely over the moon in love with the film, and that's fine. But I'm just one of those people that would be really, really happy if we could just have for 1 year, just give me 1 year, where we don't have a comic book movie. I'm just tired of them, and it's not just Marvel's fault or Disney's fault, it's just everybody's fault. I'm just so exhausted. I made this statement a little while back, and I mean it. As soon as we're done with this whole Infinity War arc, which I believe is going to end with part 2, because I know that there's a part 1 and a part 2, once I'm done seeing part 2, I will be perfectly fine with not watching another Marvel Cinematic Universe movie for 5 to 10 years, and I'm willing to bet when I decide to come back to it, I probably won't have really missed anything. So those are my thoughts on Black Panther. Again, it's just a good another addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Just that's all. So, you know, if you didn't really like my review or my tone towards the film, I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna pretend and act like everyone else and think it was the greatest thing ever. It was just another Marvel movie. I've seen plenty of them. I've seen enough to last me a lifetime, and I'm just getting a little tired of them at this point. I want a break from them. So those are just my thoughts. I'd like to know what were your thoughts on Black Panther. I'm sure most of you guys have loved it. Please tell me in the comments down below how much you enjoyed it, and if you could give it your own rating, what would you give it? If you disagree with me, that's okay, but I don't really have anything to say for the matter. So yeah, that's my review, and I'll see you next time.